Welcome, it's Denome, and welcome to this crypto update. In this episode, I have some breaking news to share with you guys that basically changes the whole crypto landscape once again. We're seeing more companies accumulate Bitcoin in the long term, as well as in the short term. I'm seeing a lot of sell pressure as well, which I will report also when we look at the fundamentals. But first, let's actually talk about the price here, because in my previous update, I said that most likely Bitcoin will continue the momentum to the upside after this bounce event here, and Bitcoin would go to about $105,000. And from here, I expected that we would get one more push to the downside. But then what happened is that the war basically ended with Israel and Iran, and it seems like the whole war was like a fake war. I'm not exactly sure, but there's reports now that there was no nuclear material that got harmed, as well as Donald Trump is basically saying that Iran has been very helpful, and Iran basically told USA before the attack that they will strike, and once they evacuated everything, then Iran made its attack. So the whole situation is quite weird, but the markets are liking the move. So we actually broke out of this short-term structure here already. So right now the question is obviously, will we still get this move to the downside here, or is this up only from now? So I will get to that later when we talk about the technical analysis here. But this idea that I shared before is basically now broken, untrue. So I will delete this here. Now, let's actually talk about the breaking news first, and then look at the fundamentals and all that stuff. So let's take a look at this one here. So Pulte, who is the US Director of Federal Housing, this is a major organization basically in charge of what are the terms that banks use when they give out mortgages. And this guy is now saying that they have given a directive which is effective immediately to give out loans and use cryptocurrencies as an asset when you consider giving a mortgage to a person. And this is massive because now you can use Fartcoin, you can use Link, you can use Ethereum, you can use Bitcoin, basically not as a collateral, but those assets will be taken into account when they assess your credit worthiness. So this is a major move because uh, this means there's suddenly more liquidity and more use cases for crypto outside just number going up or hoping number to go up. So that's the change here. And as you can see here, EchoX, who was a former mortgage banker, he's basically said that basically two mortgage giants who hold over $7 trillion in housing loans will now look at digital assets as part of this people's wealth when they give out these loans. And why this is also important is when we take a look at the US housing market. The housing market, I have been reporting on this channel as well in the United States, seem to have been in a bubble for at least a year now. And now we're basically seeing new home sales fall off in Texas and Florida and in some other places as well. So suddenly, when crypto assets are being involved in this equation, I guess what they hope is that they can prop up the US housing market even more to the upside so that they can have more liquidity to keep the bubble going, basically. So let's see how that works out. There's warning signs here as well, but all in all, I would say this is a positive for the whole crypto market. And it's surprising that the prices have not skyrocketed after this news, but it is still quite good. Now we will see how this will actually play out once the mortgages are being approved or disapproved based on these new criteria. So anyway, that was the breaking news there. Now, what we saw over the last week, or since my last update, we saw Michael Saylor's strategy acquire more Bitcoin. This time they bought only a small fraction, $26 million, compared to their last week's purchase, which was more than $1 billion. but still they're acquiring more Bitcoin. So obviously that is still nice, but not as nice as it was before. Then Metaplanet has bought another $132 million worth of Bitcoin. Now they hold over 12,000 Bitcoin altogether. So that is nice. GameStop has raised $450 million to basically buy more Bitcoin. So that is nice. And then Kazakhstan's president has renewed its pledge to create a crypto city where everybody accepts Bitcoin. Global mainstream adoption is coming. So that is obviously nice as well. And then we saw a new company called ProCap BTC. They have bought almost $400 million worth of Bitcoin. And this company is owned by Anthony Pompliano, who is another YouTuber on this platform. And that is interesting because this was not the only Bitcoin it bought. Because also following this news, they went ahead and bought another 1,200 Bitcoin. So now they hold almost 5,000 Bitcoin altogether. So it's nice to see that more companies are adopting these crypto Bitcoin Bitcoin treasury strategies, and this has been a success. Now, what they will do in the future is they will basically try to do what Metaplanet has done before, to basically generate revenue basically from their Bitcoin holdings. I don't know how they will do it, but it's probably going to be some institutional investment paper vehicle, something like that. We'll see when it comes out. But anyway, that was more Bitcoin being bought from the market. And then in the last 2 weeks, I told you guys about the uh, uh, Tron treasury strategy company that Justin Sun launched. Then we saw the Hype treasury strategy company also being in the New York Stock Exchange. And now we have the Binance token treasury strategy company also in the Nasdaq called Nano Labs. And obviously, this stock already skyrocketed after this announcement. But basically, uh, this is what I predicted, is that more and more we will see these companies being acquired from the New York Stock Exchange that will be converted to buy these altcoins from the market, to basically have a ticker for a altcoin on the stock exchange as well. So we're seeing more of that adoption as well. So all of these developments will bring more liquidity to crypto in the long run. So that is obviously nice to see. Then this was a little bit worrying to me, but I will report it anyway. So United States has done interesting things this year since Donald Trump took office. And one thing that is a little bit annoying to me is that I can no longer go into the United States based on my political views. So, right now, if you are a foreigner and you go to the United States, and whenever you apply for any kind of visa, even for a tourist visa, you basically have to give out your social media usernames for the past 5 years and make your profiles public. And if you don't do this, you are fined $5,000. And if you do this, you may have to buy an immediate return ticket from United States if you don't comply with this new rule. And here it is in the US Department of State website as well. So there will be a screening and vetting to identify visa applicants who are inadmissible to the United States. So basically, if you are hostile to this new government, Trump administration, then you might not be able to go into the United States. And what I heard from one Australian person is that he went to United States and then he was asked to give out his phone, and he basically had wiped out the phone before, but because he still had some pro-Palestine posts on his social media, which he found out at the border that they already had downloaded prior to him going into United States, he basically had to go back to Australia even though he basically complied with this new rule. And that is Orwellian to me, is annoying, but it is what it is. And here is one meme that a Norwegian tourist had at the airport, and this meme alone, I guess, caused that he was barred entry into the United States. So this is insane, but it is what it is. So I'm reporting it here as well. Anyway, going further, now looking at the fundamentals, what we're seeing from the ETF side is just massive accumulation. So we saw $350 million, almost $600 million, and $550 million already in accumulation into the Bitcoin ETFs. And that is massive amount of buying. At the same time, when we look at the fundamentals on sentiment.net, what we saw throughout this time is we saw Bitcoin leaving exchanges massively, and over the last week we saw Bitcoin actually entering exchanges once again, and now that has basically gone flat over this week. So this is, I would say, good news for now, that Bitcoin at least is not entering, more Bitcoin is not entering exchanges. Uh, so that is nice to see. The funding rates are negative, which is very good to see, because when funding rates are negative, it incentivizes people to actually long Bitcoin. And then what we saw as well is the market cap of stablecoins rising to $220 billion. So this was a nice move as well. We want to see stable coins growing, because fundamentally that is good for crypto, more use cases basically for blockchain technology. And who basically sold on this pump so far is the fresher wallets, the wallets that have held Bitcoin for more than 90 days. But these older wallets that have held Bitcoin for more than 1 year, we're not seeing a lot of sell pressure from them, at least as of now. So all of these indicators, fundamentally speaking, look quite good. What is worrying to me, however, is when we take a look at the aggregated spot order book depth, because here we're seeing massive amounts of sell pressure on the spot markets. The delta is negative $160 million. So within a 3% price move, we're seeing massively more Bitcoin sell orders than buy orders. And the same is true here on the futures side. We're seeing a lot of uh, selling within the next 3% from this current price move. So most likely in the very, very short term, we should see a pullback based on this data here, because the market makers, they are uh, on the sell side clearly. So in the short term, it's likely we will have a pullback. Now, looking at the liquidation data, you can see that most liquidations is actually above the current price range, stretching all the way to about $114,000. So this here is the liquidity pocket that the market will gravitate to most likely in the medium term. But in the short term, like I showed you, it's likely that Bitcoin will have a pullback to the downside, even though we're seeing all of this accumulation across the board, and the fundamentals have changed, that Bitcoin can now be used as collateral, like I showed you here. So now going back to the charts here, what I do expect is now something like this, that Bitcoin will go back to this previous trend line here to about $105,000, and then we might be going for a breakout from this structure here. And there's one more structure that I want to share with you guys that I showed before, but it's important to show you as well here, which is the inverse head and shoulders that we have here on the longer time frame. And when you measure this inverse head and shoulders here, if this plays out and we have a breakout to from $114,000 to about $115,000, $116,000, then we are basically on the path to about $140,000, which would be the move from here. Or $150,000, depending how you measure it. Now this would take us to $170,000, but we have this trend line basically blocking that move. So I think $140,000 right now seems much more likely in the medium term. So that is most likely what's going to happen. Now we still have the liquidation zone below these current price ranges, about 90k, which I would like Bitcoin to go, but right now it doesn't seem like that will happen, even though we have this short-term sell pressure from the market makers that I showed you here. And also, when we take a look at the Bitcoin, Bitcoin futures, we have these uh, short-term CME gaps here, a couple of them actually. So here would be one, here is one, and then we still have these two open ones. So if we go to that 91k, that is still a possibility. Now it looks more unlikely than before, but then again, like I showed you here, the market makers are on the sell side, so most likely we will tag at least the first one here to $105,000 or $106,000, or even the second one to $103,000. These lower ones are a little bit iffy, but they are still there. So keep those in mind if Bitcoin actually wants to go all the way down here. But right now, the markets, in my opinion, have become more bullish than they were before. The fundamentals are good, but if the real estate market in USA starts to collapse, then most likely Bitcoin and altcoins will go down with them as well. The recession risk in United States is still quite high, so we'll see how things continue to go from there. The money printers in United States are still not fully on, so that's basically the big risk in altcoins and in crypto, and one of the reasons why altcoins aren't really following the most recent news. So I would say in the long term, Bitcoin is still bullish, but in the short medium term, there's these risk factors that I don't like. And also going back to this line here, like I showed you, this momentum shift. Now Bitcoin has on the RSI has gone back on the upside here, and even broken from this structure here. So that kind of signals to me that it might have been a fake out. But then again, usually when we see these momentum shifts here to the downside, that basically signals to me that there might be something that is coming that is not immediately evident. So Bitcoin is now basically having that decision time if it wants to fulfill our fantasies, and we will have that altcoin Bitcoin rallies to the upside, or if the actual markets in the United States start to fall, then most likely we will have major moves to the downside one more time for Bitcoin and altcoins. But I remain hopeful right now. I would say most likely what we will see in the short term is a move to $105,000, or even if it goes to that $103,000 to take out those CME gaps. That seems more likely than straight upside, at least. So in the very short term, I would say we will go down. So that's basically the update today. Now, if you want to get started and trade these markets, consider joining Phemex.com. You're still eligible for these nice welcome rewards when you use my affiliate link or this invitation code when you start and join the platform. You do not have to finish your KYC to deposit and withdraw capital and trade on the platform, and the fees are extremely low, basically half the fees compared to popular exchanges like Bybit or Binance. That's it for this video. Hope you liked it. Consider subscribing to the channel. I will see you on the next one, and bye bye.